Hello and welcome to Stocks Down Under. My name is Stuart Roberts and I'm one of the co-founders of our service. And joining me today on Wednesday, the 17th of May, 2023 from Melbourne is Mr. Kevin Bailey, AM, who is the Executive Chairman of Po Valley Energy, ASX PVE. Kevin, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Stuart. Great to be with you.
First time we've had someone with AM after their names. Order of Australia Honours List for 2017 for your services to promoting relations between our country and East Timor. So thanks for your service to Australia.
So they gave it to me for three things. They didn't. There was the Australia-East Timor relations, the services to the financial services sector, and to philanthropy. So on any one of them, I wouldn't have gotten up, I reckon. So they had to put three together. So
a very busy man. Some investors might know you from your time building Shadforths, which became part of SGA, ultimately bought by IWF in 2014, and most of the time since then has been involved in philanthropy. But you've gotten involved in this very interesting company that is now developing its first producing gas asset in the Po Valley of northern Italy. You've been investing in that company since, I believe, about 2006. So this has been a very long journey.
2008, Stu. 2008, so right. 15 years. It's been a long 15 years.
Right. Now, I'm excited getting to know the Po Valley story. The secret of Italy's post-war prosperity was Eni under Enrico Mattai, developing the gas resources of the Po Valley. Time moves on. Eni was no longer permitted to have a monopoly over oil and gas production in Italy. They divested a few assets. Some of them ended up in your hands, in Po Valley Energy's hands, and the company spent a long time developing those. You're now on the cusp of the first producing well from Podere Maiar within I need to check my notes here, Selva Malvezzi field.
Malvezzi, yeah.
Malvezzi. The Malvezzis were big shots in Bologna in the Middle Ages, as I understand.
Yes.
This is named after them.
Indeed it is, yeah. We've got another field in the Adriatic, Teodorico, named after one of the big leaders of Italy back in the 600s or so. So interesting names that they came up with these fields.
Right. So let's paint the background here. The Po Valley is the longest river in Italy. Runs about 650 kilometers. You go through the provinces of Bologna, and you're in the heartland of the industrial powerhouse that is the Emilia-Romagna region.
Yes.
You've now got some new gas sitting about a kilometre away from the pipeline grid in Italy. Discovered in 2017, this particular well. You've spent about 2 or 3 million euros to then get the gas plant together, and first gas flows within a month or so, as I understand.
Any day now. So we'll
wave our Italian flag in honor of that.
Well done. No, it's very exciting. We've completed the plant. We've connected to the national grid. It's called SNAM, SNAM. The SNAM grid. We're now just waiting final sign-off for the fire department and the UNMIG and the safety sign-off, and then we can actually do some testing and then start pumping into the grid. We've actually got an offtake that we've signed a contract with a major, and that we basically will be pumping into the grid.
Right.
Hopefully any day now, but certainly within the next month or so.
Right, and the timing is exquisite. Obviously, the whole of Western Europe has been had some serious energy difficulties since the war in Ukraine started in February 2022. We saw a huge spike in the Dutch TTF price for gas in Europe. Now, a lot of that's come back. But if you look at the long-term chart, it's still at the top of the long-term range that gas was trading at for the several years prior to that war. So you're selling into a seller's market for gas at a time when not only can Italy not import Russian gas, for the gas that it doesn't source domestically, it's got to take it from Libya or Algeria, which is fair. It's fair to say that Italy would like to reduce its reliance on those two partners as well.
Overwhelmingly, the new government has made a very strong policy stance and statements saying they want domestic production to increase. 5 or 6 years ago, they had about 40% domestic production, and they wanted to they basically outsourced most of it to Russia, and they went down to 8% when the Russians invaded Ukraine, and suddenly they were in all sorts of strife. It's interesting, the whole European Union now has recognized that fundamentally gas as a transition fuel, they've now said it's a clean fuel.
Right.
Because they desperately need baseload power. And talk about the lights going out. It's not just the lights. The entire industrial base of Italy, in the north of Italy there, will be absolutely catastrophically ruined if they don't get this right. And they need to actually be control of their own energy security. And so therefore there is a very strong emphasis on getting this whole Po Valley region up and running again as quickly as they possibly can.
Right. So you've got 8 BCF just in this this first well at 2P. I suspect
that's at 2P.
Yeah. It won't stay 8 BCF if you and your exploration team have their say. Not far away from this original PM1 well, which is just about to go live, you've got Selva North, Selva East, and about 3 other prospects that you can drill out. These wells are deep, but they're not hideously expensive. So with the cash flow, the ample cash flow that you're about to enjoy from that first well and the offtake with your sales partner, it's fair to say that you're on a bit of a growth trajectory for Po Valley Energy.
We're at an inflection point, Stu. What we have is a situation where we've been an explorer and developer, et cetera, but we're now a producer. And so now we're in production. Instead of so many companies, where you're making losses and you're talking about blue sky and upside and all that side of things, effectively, we've got the cash flow that we could either use to develop some of these lookalike wells at Selva North or Selva South, Selva East or Ricardina, that we are very, very confident that we can actually bring them on stream over the next few years, that are going to just, for very, very little outlay, give us a tremendous return on investment. So my job is to just systematically bring on additional revenue that's going to, I'm an investor managing the company for investors. I'm the largest investor in the company. We keep our remuneration down pretty low. We've got 4 directors, and I'm getting paid the same non-executive director salary of $50,000 per annum.
When you come to Sydney, lunch is still on me. It sounds like you're going to be a bit short of cash there, Kevin.
Look, it's the cash flow is going to be everything. I'm not. It's a rounding error as far as I'm concerned compared to running this business for investors. And so most of the major shareholders are absolutely behind me in getting this thing going, get the cash flow going and running it for investors. And so we need to actually spend some of the money on developing a couple of the extra wells, but we're not going to have to dilute shareholders in order to do that. And we're going to be in a situation where we've got lots of good choices to make about how we can reward investors, which is fantastic.
Right, and of course you've got optionality as well. We mentioned Tierra Rico out in the Adriatic Sea. That's a pretty large resource. I think 37 BCF on QP for that one. It's if you could find a good partner for that one. It's an offshore field, obviously, so a little more difficult to develop, but there could be some upside.
It's in about 30 meters of water, so it's not very deep, fairly shallow. It's about 12 kilometers from Naomi Pandora, which is the E&I plant, which we're very, very close to. There's a number of hurdles we've got to overcome. We've got, there's all sorts of environmental issues. There's all sorts of issues. It's probably beyond our capacity to do it on our own. Certainly, I would say that's the case. So we're looking for either a joint venture partner or maybe even someone to sell it to. So there's a very interesting options that we've got with that one, and that's going to, basically, we're looking for the best outcome for shareholders with that. So it's great that we've got the license there. They have like what they call a plan of areas, but the size of this field means it's about 4 or 5 times bigger than the field that they said is exempted. But we've got to get that in confirmation from the government. So I don't want to give anyone the idea that we're all systems go there the same way as we are with Selva, which is a really straightforward story. But then, we've got that. We've got Podere Maiar, that we're bringing online. But then we've got Podere Maiar, which is a condensate. So there's a number of projects that we can look at, but we don't want to be, building empires. We want to be just basically looking at how we can actually do things cost effectively and then get money back to shareholders in the most tax effective and efficient way we can.
Okay. Those new wells at Selva, most of them won't be happening till next year. But what do you hope to have achieved by Christmas 2023?
Well, we will basically we'll have the cash flow coming through. We'll develop our strategy of where we're going to be going. We can't control what the gas price is going to be in Europe, but we think that's going to be substantially higher than it is today. Time will tell. And so we'll be in a very, very strong position, profitable, and with lots of choices at our disposal. We'll be able to make announcements to the market exactly what we're going to be doing and when we're going to be doing it, contracts we're going to be signing. We had a arrangement with Tessai, which is a manufacturer who developed the surface plant, and they did a phenomenal job. We came in on time and on budget within, literally less than 3% over what our original budget was.
Inflation exploding out of control. You must have greased a few palms there, Kevin.
I bought a lot of steel before we had the approvals because the price of steel was going through the roof. The supply chain cost. Supply chain blowouts, all sorts of things. We made sure that we got everything done right. And Tessai just did a phenomenal job. I think, Tessai recognised that if they did a really good job for us, we've got, north and south and east and Recordina, we've got these other. And so I'm pretty sure when we put it out to tender that they are going to be at the front of the queue. So if they can keep working the way they've worked for us, then I'd be delighted to have them doing the other plants that we'll have installed down the track.
Okay. Kevin Bailey at Po Valley Energy, well done on what you and your colleagues have achieved. And here's to some fruitful increases in free cash flow in the next few years from these great assets.
No, looking forward to it. It's a lot of fun. It's winners are grinners, as they say.
Yeah. Thanks for joining Stocks Down Under.
Thanks a lot, Stu.